Okay, so this episode was shorter than the others, but very interesting. So apparently, the boat that Hermes sends Percy to, Percy and Company, is Luke's ship, which Percy makes a good observation that if Hermes could send them to Luke's ship, then the gods know where they are. So, what do you think you're accomplishing? Um, so we see Celeste. She decides to go it alone. I don't know what happened with her and Chris. Did he just say that he didn't want to go? Or what's going on? Because Tantalus wanted her to pick someone new to make up for the fact that they lost Annabeth. And then suddenly she's going it alone. So, very weird. And her father helps her out. And her father is, of course, a dumbass because the people he gave for her to run this ship, and he tells them to follow her, aren't listening to a word she says because, female. So here, let me just lower you a little bit. So she's being frustrated, and she gives an epic speech. You guys lost. How would you like to be heroes? How would you like to change your fate? Which I thought was awesome and shows that she's infinitely smarter than her father. So, now I thought at first that she would actually find a way to join up with the ship that they're on, until I found out that was a Luke's ship. Now, granted, what Luke is promising sounds good. Everybody living in harmony. Do I think that that's what Kronos actually intends to do? That might be what Kronos promised. But this is the same man who decided to eat all his children. So that's not great. Granted, Zeus did the same thing with Artemis and Apollo. So it's not like Zeus has a leg up on Kronos in morality, because there was a prophecy that said this child is going to overtake you, and so down the hatch you go. So in that regard, he is his father's son. And so when he says Zeus isn't merciful, neither is Kronos. Genetics is still a thing. Even though you are gods, genetics is still a thing, except for the fact that there isn't any horrendous inbreeding. But anyway, now, so I love that speech from Celeste. And it looks like next episode, Percy and them join her. I knew that they had to team up at some point. But the way she said, when one of the sailors said that, are you sure these are the right coordinates? Because this takes us here. And then she remembers what Percy Jackson said. But the way she said his name was like she was more annoyed with him than anything. Even though he is literally the one who stood up and said, Tantalus is full of shit. Now, So now we need to know, is Tantalus's memory just that horrible? Or did he purposely give bad coordinates? Because let's face it, he is trying to give himself credit for everything. So maybe he just misremembered the coordinates, or maybe he did it on purpose because he didn't actually want the kids to find the golden fleece. Which makes you wonder, why would he do that? But the other question is Talia. Is Luke right that Talia hated Zeus? Which, just because you hate your father doesn't mean you hate the entire race. Because, that not everybody is like that. Not every god is like Zeus. So maybe we'll find out, whether through flashbacks or whatnot, we'll find out how she actually feels. Luke really does truly believe in everyone getting along and singing Kumbaya. He really believes that, because when Allison wanted to take her group and go after Percy, Tyson, and Annabeth, which, by the way, loving Tyson, it's like, let's make a bomb. How is it that, Annabeth and Percy were the first ones to come to? Tyson, I get, because he's super strong. Strong hide. But that was bizarre. But anyway, so Luke tries to stop them. He tells them not to go, but they don't listen to him. Which is why his fantasy of everyone living in harmony is bullshit. Because the minute someone does something that another person doesn't like, because that's just how it goes, people want to fight because that's all they know. I do like how Percy got Allison by pointing out asking her about Grover. Because he claims it was a nightmare. It's like, dude, when are you going to admit that that you're a seer, that you can see the future? Or the present, because it could have been happening in real time. That's a possibility too. But technically not a nightmare. So I was really expecting... Now, how smart of Allison. She knows that Poseidon is Percy's father, right? So why is she putting him in a position where he can go overboard? Where his power resides? Because that's fucking brilliant. So I was hoping that Annabeth and Luke would compare notes on the Great Prophecy, because it's like, Luke thinks he's right, Annabeth thinks she's right. Why don't you guys put your heads together, find out what the prophecy says, and go from there? Because Annabeth even said, nothing is clear, it's a prophecy. So in that case, Luke shouldn't be listening to Kronos, but Annabeth shouldn't be listening to Chiron about the Great Prophecy either. Because if all the prophecy is interpretation, why don't you read the damn thing yourself and decide for yourself? Or, because it's possible Chiron just asked the Oracle, like Celeste did. And before she could chop the Oracle's head off because she freaked out. Kind of jumpy for the child of the god of war, but yeah, I'm looking forward to them all working together, even though she's like, we're not friends. Okay. But, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But, you know, quick aside, if there is this great prophecy that apparently there's this hero that's going to either destroy or save Olympus, but they're latching onto the destroy part. How do we know it's talking about Percy? I mean, Annabeth mentioned in last episode that about Hercules, he was a great hero. He was a demigod. How is it that the prophecy isn't about him? Why is it about Percy? And why are they latching on to could destroy? Because it doesn't say that he will destroy Olympus. It said he could. Okay, that doesn't mean shit. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I mean, no. Let's see, what else did I want to mention about this episode? um, hmm. um, I am kind of happy that, that they didn't go half the season without Annabeth telling Percy what she knows or what she thinks she knows. But at the same time, I listened to this prophecy, I'm like, oh, come on. For someone who claims that it's a prophecy, the words are never clear, you seem really convinced that A, Chiron correctly interpreted the prophecy, or maybe he talked to an oracle. That's number one. Number two, you keep latching onto the fact that he is going to destroy Olympus. It's like, that's literally not what you said. Those are not the words that came out of your mouth. Like I said, an actor was cast to play Talia. So now that we know that Talia supposedly didn't like Zeus, I'm hoping that we'll get some flashbacks or something to show it. Or maybe when they heal the tree, that her voice will be heard or some image of her will be shown where she says yay or nay whether she, agrees with Luke. Let me see if there's anything else. I think I covered everything I wanted to in this episode. So with that, I will see you guys in the next one.